what happened to the bushfire season in Australia during BS19? Now that's a question you need to ask yourself, and it's also a question I should be allowed to raise here on YouTube, and I'm going to show you why. Alright, so here I have a list of the bushfire seasons in Australia from 2010 onwards. Right, now you may need to pause this, and I will leave the link to this in the description box of this video. So you start down here, 2010 to 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. BS19 hits. No major bushfire seasons since. What happened to the influenza season during this same time? Once again, this is a question I should be able to raise, and we're going to have a look at a story here run by the government-funded ABC. This is for you skeptics out there who are going to roll your eyes when you see the title of this video. I'll just have a quick read. Influenza cases hit an all-time low in Australia in 2021. I'm going to leave the link for this in the description box. If you have been thinking the flu has virtually disappeared from our lives, you are not wrong. Before COVID-19 arrived, the number of influenza cases was reaching some of its highest levels, with 313,033 notifications of laboratory-confirmed influenza across Australia in 2019, 2.7 times higher than the 5-year average, and 953 deaths. Now, you should also be asking yourself, how is it possible that during the time of BS19, no one, hardly anyone, caught the flu? And I've got some documents here which I'm going to put in the description box so you can go through it yourself. These are official government statistics from the Australian Department of Health. And I'll just go down and have a quick read. There is no indication of the potential severity of the 2021 season at this time. It says that there has been one hospital admission due to influenza reported across Sentinel hospitals since commencement of surveillance in April 2021. Interesting. We come across to this story here. Flurona isn't real. People can get co-infection, say researchers. Right, I'm going to leave this link in the description box.
And Chris, look, in 4 aged care homes in Sydney right now, there are 170 cases. 170. What would you like to see happen, and how do we handle this?
All right, so there's an outbreak in aged care facilities across Australia. All right, now this is, I have to be careful, very careful how I word this. All right, so do you think that the precautions that were forced upon us could have resulted in what you see in aged care facilities. Do you think, right now I'm not stating this as fact, I'm just putting the idea out there, and I should be allowed to do so, that the bodies of the elderly are not coping well with the precautions put in place. Now, I need to provide an example in order for my observation, it's not a claim, it's an observation, to hold some weight here. Now, aged care facilities, you typically expect people aged 60, 70, 80, 90 plus years of age to fill these facilities. Now, what about people aged 50 to 70 who find themselves living in homeless shelters across Australia? Why do we not have outbreaks in those facilities?
This because the mental health impact of locking down and locking the elderly in their rooms is doing more damage than the virus itself.
Well, this is where you need leadership. You know, I was talking to Shane Fitzsimmons last night, and I remember during those bushfires, and bear in mind we had 12,000 bushfires in New South Wales alone. He was there to reassure people. He was there to say, this is what we're doing about it. Well, that's what Colbeck would do if the Prime Minister was gutsy enough to put him in front of a camera, and he's not. But as soon as they emerge from National Cabinet today, you can bet as soon as Scott Morrison goes to that podium, he's going to be bombarded with questions about aged care. This is where you need a leader to reassure those inside and the public that you've got this under control.
Yeah.
This is where you need to use your brain, Chris, and ask the question, what happened to the bushfires during BS19?
Look, something else I want to talk to you both about this morning too. Mark McGowan's tough border stance. There is no reopening date. That means the West Coast Eagles and the...
All right. I want to finish the video on this. So, Mark McGowan is claiming to have locked down the Western Australian border. Now, if you look at how big that border is, do you really think they can lock that state down? If someone wants to get into that state, they will get into that state. Where there's a will, there's a way. All that is happening here with Mark McGowan claiming that he's locking down the border is he is pretending to go against the other state premiers and the national strategy so that it looks like they're not all working in unison together.